started to see the toxicity of the military, and I knew at that point that it was time for me to do something else.
Word.
So you changed courses, and what started that change, like for you to get into a different lane in life?
So I medically retired. We moved to a different city, and it was right around the time COVID like really was coming down hard on everybody, and like we were on lockdown. I don't know how it was in Miami, but in Texas, like we couldn't go nowhere.
It was definitely a little more free here.
It was wide open.
Okay.
I was still hitting.
We got lucky.
Okay. Well, I love that for y'all, but for us, like I couldn't even go to the gym. Like we couldn't.
Down.
Yeah, we couldn't do shit. And so it was a time where it was me and my husband and then our 3-year-old. And we were just all in the house all day. Like the most freedom we got was going outside for a workout, like to my backyard, you know? And so that caused friction in our relationship.
Absolutely.
You know, like I could not get away from this dude, and everything he was doing was bothering me, and probably everything I was doing was bothering him. It was just one of those situations where like you need your space, you need your, free time.
But y'all cooped up, stacked
Cabin
on top of
fever
each
is
other.
what they call
We
it,
were,
right?
I guess, whatever it was horrible. And I was like, this is crazy. I got my first DM from a football player around this time. And I was so green before this. Like I was obviously married, doing the whole family thing. And then
She said her first.
my very first. Every girl remembers their first. Like I don't give a fuck what nobody
That's probably
said.
true. I never had to think about that.
But you got to set it up though. Like, was it like a thirst trap? Did you post some crazy pic and he like?
You know what?
It, or was it a
I
story?
honestly don't think I posted anything crazy. I think he just saw me on the Explore page, and I wasn't even posting any like sexy pics back then.
Man, crazy.
So he hits me up and he's like, I'm in Austin playing poker or something. And I'm already wanting to leave my dude. I'm like,
Get me out of here, yeah.
I'm like, you're pissing me off. Like everything's fucked up. So I told him, and he knows this now, but I told him I was going to go to my homegirl's house. We were going to go to the pool. Well, I went and met up with this dude.
Not the homegirl's
Dun,
house.
dun, dun.
And it confirmed everything I needed to know. I was like, no, I'm definitely not going to stay with bro. Like I'm having a much better time over here. And it wasn't personal. It was just, I met him when I was 18. I didn't get to do nothing.
Yeah.
Right.
Like I didn't get to, I never even had the college experience. You know, I went straight to the military. So like I never got to be,
Right.
doing what I wanted to.
And plus,
so,
you weren't necessarily in love for years and years. Let's try to make it work. It wasn't
no,
really-
and it wasn't, we were fighting and our daughter was getting older and it just didn't make sense.
Absolutely.
You know?
Tasha K said it when she was here. She says, every girl's got to go through their whole phase. Don't settle down until you go through that whole phase.
I think every girl and every guy needs to go through it.
Absolutely.
I think it's part of life. Like, I don't know why people shame that shit.
That's true.
And everybody does. Some people just shut the fuck up about it. You know what I'm saying? There's so many people that act like they're not in that, they never been in that world. And, like, I've met so many women that sit there and sugarcoat the bullshit. Like, no, it's just, I've only been with, shut the fuck up.
Own it.
You know what I mean? I know that, what's the name was, shut the fuck up. The
problem
you know what I
is-
mean? But a lot, even men try that bullshit all the time.
Problem is, if it's true, if you've never really had a hoe phase, there's going to be a time for you. Like,
Yeah, it's
going to happen. You're
Right.
going to have somebody slide in the DMs. He might make a little more money, or he might look a little better, or he might just be a little more available, whatever the fuck it is.
The real shit is the exhaustion of another individual.
Well, I was talking to one of my homegirls about it today. Actually, this is so weird that we're bringing this up now. Because she was talking to me. She was like, I think I'm getting into my hoe phase. She's like 22, whatever. And I was like, it's so much deeper than anybody realizes. Like, we're all here living the human experience. We're eternal beings. I think when we die in the physical, we're still alive in the spiritual. Like, and I always tell people, we're here, we're living the human experience. You should not give a fuck about what the next person has going on. And if you do, you're not doing enough. That's just it. Like, why are you worried about, counting people's pockets and counting people's pussy and all that? Like, what does that do?
Right.
I don't get it.
Yeah, I was thinking that same thing. I think what it is some people's whole phase be trash. Their whole
that's probably true,
phase, their
too.
whole phase ain't raw enough. They try to go do something, get 2-3 niggas. The dick be whacked. They be like, oh, this is trash.
But that's on them though. Like, that's nobody else's business. You know what I'm saying?
A lot of people don't succeed in life, right? Like,
Right,
If you
that's
really,
true,
if you
too.
really just look at it this way, most people won't even like try to get that bag. Most people won't try to get that bag. They're like, nah, I'm cool here. And that was a lesson I had to learn the hard way. Like when I always tried to hire people, like realizing that damn, some people I thought that really wanted to get that money weren't. They just
Really trying to.
I thought that for them. You know what I mean? They ain't thinking for themselves. So when you think about it, as there's a lot of those relationships that are out there that people are stuck miserable as fuck.
Right.
Like that ass, like pure depression every single fucking day. But they're like, I'm good with this. I don't want to go out and figure out what's worse because they probably ran into Fred.
Yeah, they're like, my last whole phase was trash.
Hey, yo. Listen. And I really do feel like people get complacent.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I know a lot of people who are very complacent in their lives and their relationships. Like, there's so many married people that I know from like middle school that are just like, man, I'm really not happy in my marriage, but this is just what works right now.
Plus,
And that's okay. Like, if that works for you, by all means, but it wasn't working for me.
Yeah.
And I really feel like I said, we're living the human experience. You have to do what works for you.
at all times.
And
you
it
feel
may not,
like you were too fucked up at that time, or was he too fucked up? Like looking back at it, do you see any fault in yourself throughout that?
honestly, I feel like everything stemmed from him cheating on me when I was pregnant. Because I forgot to add, while I was giving birth, so I was gracious enough to text him when my water broke. I was like, hey, like, I'm
Just
going
so
into
you
labor.
know.
You know, and I was alone. Like, I didn't have any family come in. I told my mom, and we don't have the best relationship, but I told my mom, hey, Mom, like, I'll fly you out so you can be here, you know, when I have the baby.
Yeah.
And she's like, I have too much going on. She ain't got nothing going on. And I'm just like, damn, nobody can be here for me.
That's tough.
And my sister flew in, but she didn't make it till after I already had the baby. And that's not her fault. But I invited like 6 interns in the room because I didn't want to be alone. And these people needed to get their hours. So I was like, fuck it, come on in. Like, I don't want to be alone.
Party over here, y'all. Come
Giving
on.
birth is one of the scariest things I think I've ever done.
Can't imagine.
Yeah,
And
no, it's a
so,
lot.
Well, not just that, but dolo.
right.
You know, without somebody to bring the bag for you, or you know, whatever the case might be.
And so I FaceTimed him like while I was giving birth, and it was him and her in the camera.
Oh no!
Oh my!
And I just, I'm like 19, and I'm like trying to just, you know, do everything right. And,
Hey, yo,
you know,
that is different right there.
it was,
That's
yeah,
That's
Like the
tough.
fact that she was in the camera,
that's
but
crazy.
she was nervous.
bruh.
I immediately hung up. I was like, this can't be real life, you know?
I would have threw my phone across the room.
Because you're already in such a vulnerable state when you're pushing a human out of your body. Like, that's a spiritual experience. That's not to be taken lightly in my eyes. Yeah. You know, and when he came back and I gave him the second chance, I could just never get that thought out of my head. Like, you did me how I would never do you.
When it counted the most.
Right. And that's when I say, like, people will do things to you that you would never do to them. And that just doesn't sit right with me. Like, I understand that not everybody is going to treat me how I would treat them.
Yeah.
But that is bogus.
Yeah, no.
You know, and like I said, like, he's a great dad. Everything's cool now. But like then, it was really fucked up.
Yeah, I always say, like, I have the ability to forgive. I don't have the ability to forget.
Right.
I can't if I tried to forget, I can't forget. I can forgive you all I want, but it still happened. I still remember, nigga. Like,
Right.
the shit happened. So, you know, I just got to move forward with it. Try not to hold a grudge, but I can't act like nothing happened, even if I forgave you.
And I got experience in it, right? Because I got a newborn daughter, and then I got a 2-year-old son, and like I wouldn't even care how mad I was at her. Like, in that moment, I know she needed me,
Right.
right? So
Word.
like it doesn't even like at that point you got to still be a human being, whether you dislike somebody or not, whether it's done or not. You still have to be a human, and he still got to be able to give you that time. For him to do some corny shit like that is crazy. 'Cause
Bro, it's crazy.
That shows just like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I know there's bitches crazy enough, right, to be like, no, you ain't doing this shit unless I'm right there, because you know what I mean. Like, she's gonna know, even though you're gonna be with her in 3 years, she's gonna know today that I'm here. You know what I'm saying? So that's a possibility or whatever. I'm not sure how he's ever explained it to you, but it's wild because I know that in that moment that, like, you probably cried, you probably were in massive pain at that time.
Yeah. Honestly,
But you
like,
were high as hell off of whatever drugs they were feeding you.
yeah, I definitely got the epidural.
Yeah.
A little distracted.
And I
but-
was just honestly in that moment, and it could be different for everybody, but in that moment, everything stopped. Like, when my daughter was in my arms, I didn't hear anybody. I didn't see anything. Like, it was just me and her. And that's kind of why it was so hard to let him come back, because I was like, it's been me and her the whole time. Like, why are you just trying to
When nobody else was there.
pop up? You know, and not only that, but like he was an infantryman in the military. So when he got out, it was kind of hard for him to get a regular job, because they're like, okay, you know how to kill people, but what else do you know how to do?
What skills you got?
You know, and so I was holding the family down for like a year and a half.
You better than me.
When I got out of the military, I listen, when I got out of the military, I picked up a job at Olive Garden. And I fucking loved working there, by the way.
Shout out to Olive Garden. Endless breadsticks.
But
Pasta
it's
salad.
actually really crazy because I didn't even get to eat anything because I was prepping for a bodybuilding show.
So the Fit Mommy name is real.
Yeah. That came from when I was in the military doing bodybuilding competitions. And I was pulling doubles working at Olive Garden, and I'm waking up at 4 a.m. doing cardio. I had a 2-year-old daughter. Like, I was really doing it.
That's tough, man.
And I don't think people see me now and they don't know my backstory, and they're like, she's just a bleh. And I'm like, okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Like, you can have that because you actually have no idea what you're talking about.
Right.
Yeah, but those people that literally hop online to comment, I be saying this shit all the time. If you hop online to comment some negative shit, you got to be like a real special type of loser. Like, even when I hated people, right, like genuinely hated them, I'm not going to go to their page to be somebody in the comment section talking some shit. Like, the people that be on these lives, think about how shitty your life got to be. Like, that ass, you really got to think about this shit, because I never did it. So I think, like, what would it take for me to jump on somebody's live and be like, I hate you, you stupid bitch, slut, like, it got to be little than a motherfucker, right? Like, start right there. Pockets. I don't want to count your pockets, but they got to be super empty. You know what I mean? Like, because you got to be mad.
And they're watching it on a little ass phone. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they're using a Nokia 3360 after playing a game of Snake on the phone. Yeah,
and they hating from a little ass phone. That's great.
But